You know that feeling, right? You actually like the person who's coming over, you're excited to see them, but as you're waiting for that doorbell to ring, you feel this weird tension building in your shoulders. You're not excited, you're kind of bracing yourself. So what is that all about?
Have you ever actually felt that little pit in your stomach right before a friend arrives, even a really close friend? Well, you are definitely not alone. And it turns out there's a fascinating reason for it that has absolutely nothing to do with how much you like them.
And this is the key thing to remember. That feeling isn't some kind of personality flaw. It doesn't mean you're a bad friend or antisocial. It is your nervous system, your brain, responding to a very specific set of triggers. So let's dive in and break down what's really going on in there.
First up, let's talk about what I like to call the hosting paradox. It's this strange internal conflict between your home as your sanctuary and your home as a social stage.
This slide pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? When you're alone, your home is the one place on earth you can finally take off that social mask. You stop performing, you stop worrying about what other people are thinking, and you just exhale. But the second a guest arrives, that mask has to go right back on. Your place of rest suddenly becomes a place of performance.
Now, to really get this, we've got to talk about something called regulation habits. These are all the little, sometimes kind of weird things you do without even thinking about it to help your brain decompress and feel safe after a long day of being on out in the world.
Do any of these look familiar? I bet they do. Maybe you're a pacer, or maybe you have that one specific pair of sweatpants you have to put on the second you get home. These aren't just silly quirks. They are critical routines that send a signal to your nervous system that it's safe to power down. And as you can see, even the best, most considerate guests completely interrupts these essential habits.
So, what's actually happening inside your brain when someone else enters what is normally your predictable personal space?
I mean, wow, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? The fundamental purpose of your home completely shifts the moment someone else walks through the door. It's no longer a place to recharge your battery. It actually becomes a place that drains it.
See, your brain absolutely craves predictability because in brain language, predictable equals safe. A guest, no matter how awesome they are, just shatters that predictability. Suddenly, there are new smells, different sounds, maybe someone is sitting in your spot on the couch. These aren't just minor annoyances. To your nervous system, they are signals that the environment is no longer under your control, which kicks it into a state of low-grade vigilance.
Okay, so your brain's on high alert. Where is all that precious energy going? Well, it turns out there are 3 huge hidden drains that cause that all-too-familiar hosting fatigue.
First up, sensory overload. Even a quiet visit adds so many new layers of sensory information. You've got extra voices bouncing off the walls, the clinking of glasses, the smell of their perfume, just constant motion in your peripheral vision. Your brain has to work so much harder to try and filter all of this new input.
And you feel that extra work in your body, right? If you've ever gotten a sudden headache during a visit, or felt your jaw clench up, or had that overwhelming urge to just go hide in the bathroom for a minute, that is a classic sign your senses are totally maxed out. It's your nervous system literally begging for a break.
The second drain is the massive cost of social processing. Hosting isn't just a conversation, it's like having way too many tabs open in your brain's browser, and they're all playing different videos at the same time. I mean, just look at this mental to-do list. Your brain is constantly scanning and tracking all of these things at once. Do they need a refill? Is this music too loud? Are they having a good time? And underneath it all is that one giant, energy-sucking question, am I doing this right? This is incredibly taxing, and it's especially true for introverts, highly sensitive people, and neurodivergent folks, whose brains might have to spend even more energy processing all those social cues. And finally, the third drain, decision fatigue. And here's the wild part. This exhaustion often kicks in days before your guest even arrives. The mental work of just planning the visit can be completely overwhelming. This chain of events shows exactly why. Each of these steps demands executive function. That's your brain's CEO, in charge of planning and getting things done. So if you're already feeling stressed, adding this whole project on top can feel like too much. And that last step, worry, if you link hosting with being judged, that one step can drain more energy than all the others combined.
Okay, so that is the why. And honestly, just knowing this can be a huge relief, right? But now for the most important part. What can you actually do about it? Let's get into some practical ways you can reclaim your space and host without totally burning out.
The secret here is making hosting more predictable for your nervous system. And here are some fantastic, super simple scripts you can literally just copy and paste.
Setting a clear start and end time, that's a total game changer. So is lowering the stakes. Hey, it doesn't have to be a gourmet meal. Even just asking for a text when they're on their way can seriously reduce that listening for the doorbell anxiety.
And here's another really powerful strategy. Just remember that connection does not have to happen in your living room. Meeting up on neutral ground, like a coffee shop or a park, gets rid of almost all of the drains we just talked about. And I absolutely love this idea of a micro-visit. A short, sweet 30-minute catch-up that gives you all the connection without any of the exhaustion.
So, the most important takeaway from all of this is right here. If your home is your primary place to recharge your batteries, then protecting that space is not selfish, it's not rude, it's necessary self-preservation. You are allowed to keep your sanctuary a sanctuary, period.
Which leaves us with one final question to think about. After everything we've covered, what is one small change, one simple boundary you can set this week? Maybe it's suggesting a walk instead of having someone over. Or maybe it's just telling a friend, hey, let's do 2 to 4. It might seem like a small step, but it can make a huge difference in protecting your peace.